What's up, everyone? This is James Hernandez. How's everybody doing? And welcome back to a brand new video. Yes, I know you guys have been wondering where I was been in terms of making another video. Well, it's recently because I really had a really bad stomach ache, unfortunately. But as of right now, I'm feeling better and I'm fully recovered, and I am here. So for today's video, I'm going to be doing another video game review, and this time I'm going to be reviewing a giant monster fighting game that you guys have been waiting for me to review. And that's right, and today I'm going to be reviewing Godzilla Save the Earth. Now, Godzilla Save the Earth is a fighting game which was released in 2004, and it's a sequel to Godzilla Destroy All Monsters Melee, which was released in 2002, and this is of course based on the Godzilla movie franchise. So let's overall talk about the story of the game, because it's literally a short story. Okay, not literally short, but it's not really much of a plot into this game because it's usually a fighting game. But the story actually does set right after Destroy All Monsters Melee left off, where the evil Vortak, which is the alien race, returns to Earth because they're looking for the G cells, which is from Godzilla's DNA, in order for them to create the ultimate giant monster. So then all the monsters in the Godzilla universe actually tends to fight each other, and that's basically the whole plot of the game. So the first time I recently got this game was way back during Christmas Eve, when I was I think I was 12 years old or 13, where I was starting to become a fan of giant monsters like Godzilla, King Kong, Cloverfield, and many other monsters from B monster movies back in the 60s, the 50s, the 70s, and so forth. So I played this game for the Xbox, as you guys can see here, and after playing it, what do I think? I think the game is a lot of fun, and I do think that it's better than its predecessor. Now, I do have some small little problems with the game, but like always in my reviews for any video games or even movie reviews, I'm going to start with the positives, and then I'm going to show my criticisms when I get to the end. So let's talk about the gameplay for this game. So basically this game, just like its predecessor, is basically a fighting game. And usually you control every single Godzilla monster from all the Godzilla movies. And they also got some brand new ones. They brought Jet Jaguar, they brought Orga, they have Morgira, they also have, who else they brought? Mothra. And they also have the previous monsters from the previous games that returned to this game. You got two variants of Godzilla, which is the 90s Godzilla, which is basically from the Heisei era, and then you had Godzilla 2000, which is part of the Millennium era. And then you got two versions of Mechagodzilla. You have the Heisei Mechagodzilla, which is called Mechagodzilla 2, and the Millennium Mechagodzilla, which is named Mechagodzilla 3, but this time they actually named him Kiru. Which, I don't know why would they name him Kiru, but oh well. So yeah, basically you play as every single of these monsters in this game, and there's basically just fight each other and just shoot beams and shoot lasers and shoot atomic breaths at each other as special attacks. And I thought the graphics in this game is actually really good, and for a game that came out back in 2004, and even I played this game to this day, it still looks very good. It looks very impressive. However, I do think that there were some silly moments in the graphics in the game where you usually will see people running in the streets, and then when the game actually shows you people running from the streets when the monsters are fighting each other and causing destruction, they do look like something out of one of those old Nintendo games, and most of them actually looks to 8-bit sprites, if that makes any sense. And sometimes they run into the wrong direction, especially towards the monsters when they're just about to step on them, which is funny, and they usually run like this or even run backwards, and I was like, what is this? But yeah, but overall I think the graphics looks very detailed, especially on the monsters. I think the monsters actually looks very accurate to how the monsters were in every era of the Godzilla movies, like the Showa, the Heisei, and the Millennium era. And the controls for this game is actually really good. I thought the controls in this game is actually much better than Destroy All Monsters Melee, because when you control every single monster and you basically fight each other, it's actually very fast paced, and I thought it was very well balanced. even like in the arenas, like in the cities and the mothership and the Monster Island, is basically like these arenas are basically are just like destructive playgrounds for the monsters to like to fight at, and they cause like havoc and all that stuff. And it's really it looks really good, especially like when the monsters are fighting in the city during the game. It looks very nicely detailed, and yeah, like I said, the monsters actually looks very well done. I think the graphic designers did like a fantastic job of making the monsters really look like how the monsters look, and not basically looking too distracting. Now, the combos is actually very like brutal compared to the first one, because of like when the monsters actually like grab each other or even like kick and punch, it's like very like brutal, and you actually can feel it like when they actually attacked. And the game somehow kind of reminds me a bit like one of those like other fighting games, which is kind of like basically fast paced. And I think the controls in this game is actually very good, which is something I kind of have like a problem with Godzilla Destroy All Monsters Melee. Not to say the controls in Destroy All Monsters Melee is bad, but I just think that the controls just feels like really tight, and there are times where it just feels broken at parts, and then it will only work when it feels like it. And usually the controls just usually just feels like it's stuck, and it usually just doesn't let you move, which is something I actually had a problem with Destroy All Monsters Melee. But I felt like Save the Earth actually takes care of that issue. And like I said, I do think that the gameplay and the fighting mechanics is actually way better than its predecessor, and it's very well balanced. And yeah, we got the selection of monsters in the game. Even Space Godzilla is in this game, which he's technically the final boss. Which if you play hard mode, that's the monster that the Vortex was using the G cells to create, and that technically was Space Godzilla. So at the end of the game, there was actually an extra cinematic cutscene where after you defeated Space Godzilla, Space Godzilla actually got sucked into the portal and into the black hole, and it basically just like kills him instantly. And then Godzilla actually roars in victory, and the evil Vortex basically just like escapes and all that kind of stuff. So I thought that the graphics, yeah, not just in the gameplay, but like the cinematic cutscenes, like in the end as well as in the intro, when Godzilla and the other monsters just like come to the city, and they usually cause like trouble, by causing destruction and all that stuff. Looks very nice, and it does look very cinematic. And I really wish we would got like those type of like cinematic graphic cutscenes in video games, because we really don't get any of these cinematic cutscenes in video games nowadays, which is very disappointing. But it still looks really nice, and I do think it looks pretty good to this day. Now let's move on to the criticisms I have of the game, because I do have some small problems. So I'm going to talk about the things that I don't like about the game. First being is the challenges. Now, not to say the challenges are horrible, because of like there were some like challenges that is actually really fun, and there was like I thought the controls were okay in the challenges, but my only issue is that they pretty much like they were introduced like in the action mode, and whatever like after you defeat every single monster like in each round in the action mode of this game, they will come with the challenges. And I felt like the challenges kind of feels very distracting, and I don't think it really needs to be in the action mode. So putting those challenges in the action mode just kind of feels unnecessary, and I think they should have been like lockable mini games that you can unlock after you like finish the action mode by playing as every single monster. So I do think that's really distracting for the game, and that kind of makes it like very dragging, the action mode, and it just kind of feels like a chore to get through. It feels like you're doing chores rather than having fun with the game. Like unlike fighting the other monsters, which is actually really fun, whereas the challenges, it was just like come on, really? That's kind of unnecessary. Also, the other criticisms I have with the game is that the music in the game is not as memorable as the music from Destroy All Monsters Melee, because Destroy All Monsters Melee, especially like when you fight the monsters, like is actually action packed, and it actually really fits the tone for Godzilla very well. This one actually, this game actually has the music where I kind of felt like it was too it was too soft and it was too quiet. And I was like, that doesn't really fit, especially like when you're fighting other monsters. There's not much of like, it's not really as action packed or as pumped as the music from Destroy All Monsters Melee. So I do think Destroy All Monsters Melee actually did better with the soundtrack on than this game has. But those are like one of my minor criticisms with the game because of yeah, but because I thought the whole game was actually really fun to play. So in conclusion, guys, I really do enjoy Godzilla Save the Earth. Does it have its problems? Yes. But do I still enjoy playing this game? Yes. And I really do enjoy playing this game a lot more than Destroy All Monsters Melee. And I try to play this Godzilla game like every single day, and it really has got me into other giant monster movies that, outside of Godzilla. Like I mentioned, like in the beginning of this video, like King Kong and Cloverfield, and there's some other like monsters that I would have liked to see be featured in a giant monster fighting game. Kind of like pretty similar to like Jump Force, but you can have like Godzilla, King Kong, Cloverfield, Gamera. You can also add Ultraman, Gorgo, Reptilicus, and many other monsters from these like classic monster movies, like from the 60s and the 70s and the 50s, and many of those like, years of the giant monster movie genre. So yeah, overall, Godzilla Save the Earth, really fun game. It does have small problems, but I still really enjoyed this game, and I do think that this is the best Godzilla fighting game I can ever play. So on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm going to give Godzilla Save the Earth a 9.3 out of 10. I still really enjoyed this game. Like I said, it does have problems and it does have its flaws, but the stuff that is really good, I'm really glad I got this game, and I'm glad that I played it. And I will still play it now if I'm in the Godzilla mood, and I'll try to play one of those fighting games like every day. So if you're a huge fan of Godzilla, and if you really want to play like a fighting game which is like very fast paced and has really good graphics and good controls and very detailed on the monsters, then this is the game that I recommend to Godzilla fans, and especially to fighting game fans. So go get this game and go buy it. So folks, that is my review for Godzilla Save the Earth. Now, I want to hear from you guys. What did you guys think of Godzilla Save the Earth? Did you guys like it? Did you guys hate it? What do you think of the graphics? What do you think of the controls? What do you think of, do you wish that the music was a little better? And do you think the challenges should have been like a side mission rather than being part of the action mode? Let me know in the comments below. I would love to hear your thoughts. And feel free to subscribe to my channel, hit that like button, and turn on the notifications when I make brand new videos. And stay tuned for the next video that I'm going to be reviewing the Golden Compass movie. And I'm also going to be working on the next Characters Face Off episode. If you guys have seen at the end of Frozone versus Elsa, the next Characters Face Off episode is going to be Little Mac versus Balrog. So stay tuned for that video. But other than that, stay tuned for my movie review for the Golden Compass, which is based on the first book of his Dark Materials. So overall, guys, before I go, I want to show you guys this Godzilla figure right here, and it's based on the last film of the Millennium Era, Godzilla Final Wars. So, alright, Godzilla, so really like this review? Okay, so, alright, anyways, hope you guys enjoyed my review for Godzilla Save the Earth. Hope you guys had a great day. Take good care of yourselves. And this is James Hernandez and my friend Godzilla, signing out.